Hello everyone. Good evening. How are you all doing? कैसे हो सब? Do you remember what we did in the last session? किसी को याद है? कोई शेयर करना चाहेगा कि हमने लास्ट मंथ किस चीज पर बात करी थी? सबको याद है मैं कौन हूँ? मुझे पिन कर लीजिए सब अपने स्क्रीन पर। सब देख पा रहे हैं मुझे?
मीठी गाजर चाहता हूँ।
सब अपने आप को म्यूट कर लीजिए। रितिका, आई मीट फर्स्ट टाइम। ओके। आप क्या लास्ट सेशंस में नहीं थे? नहीं थे। अच्छा। ओके। और किसी को याद है मैं कौन हूँ? नहीं याद है? ठीक है। ओके, सो लेट्स स्टार्ट टुडेज सेशन। आई विल जस्ट शेयर माय स्क्रीन. Everybody is requested to keep their videos on. क्या आप सबको मेरा स्क्रीन दिख रहा है?
Yes, ma'am.
दिख रहा है? ओके, कैन यू सी द स्लाइड्स, द प्रेजेंटेशन? क्या लिखा है प्रेजेंटेशन पे, कोई बता सकता है? So the topic for today's session is expressing yourself clearly. मैं क्या चाहता हूँ? You will be able to learn how do you express yourself confidently and clearly that the other person around you or other people around you know what you want, what you need, and what you want. You're able to express it clearly. Okay. So these are the some norms for the day. जैसे हम हर बात करते हैं, let's be kind to each other. Let's not judge anybody. Let's listen actively. अगर आप आए हैं यहाँ पे अटेंड करने, तो आप कोशिश करिए कि आप यहाँ अच्छे से सुने एंड कुछ सीख के जाएं. Confidentiality is key. Do you know what confidentiality is? We've discussed this a lot of times. What is confidentiality? कोई बता सकता है? You can raise your hand or unmute and speak. किसी को भी नहीं पता 11th क्लास में? What is confidentiality? Would anybody like to try? No? Can everybody hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
ठीक है. कॉन्फिडेंशियलिटी मतलब होता है दैट एनीथिंग दैट एनीबडी शेयर्स हेयर, अगर कोई भी बच्चा यहाँ पे कुछ शेयर करता है तो वो यहीं पर रहेगा, हम उसको उसके बाहर नहीं बात करेंगे, मीटिंग के बाहर. एंड देन पार्टिसिपेट. द मोर यू पार्टिसिपेट द मोर यू लर्न. अगर आप पार्टिसिपेट करेंगे, हम कुछ एक्टिविटीज भी करेंगे, अगर आप उसमें पार्टिसिपेट करोगे देन यू विल बी बेटर एबल टू अंडरस्टैंड द कॉन्सेप्ट्स. Let's keep our cameras on and microphone off. But in between, if you want to say something, you can raise your hand and I'll ask you to speak. You can use the reaction buttons and the chat box is always on if you want to say anything. So, before the agenda, let's do a quick recap of what we did in the last session. Does anybody remember what we did? किसको याद है हमने लास्ट सेशन में क्या किया था? एनीवन? Nandini, do you want to say something?
Yes, ma'am. You explain about
बताओ.
sympathy and empathy.
Yes, sympathy and empathy के बारे में हमने बात की थी. Very good, thank you for sharing. उसके अलावा और क्या बात करी थी हमने? What else did we talk about? Anything that you remember from the last session which you took away, which you applied? आपने कुछ apply किया अपनी life में? Empathy maps एक चीज थी जिसमें 4 words थे and apply कर सकते हो. Empathy maps and understanding other people's perspective. Did you try to apply it in your life? Did anybody try? It's okay to share. जब तक आप share नहीं करोगे तो आप सीखोगे कैसे? You don't have to think about कि बाकी लोग क्या बोलेंगे अगर मैं share करूंगी या करूंगा, जज करेंगे. अगर आप शेयर करेंगे तभी आप सीखेंगे आज. आई रिमेम्बर शिखा वॉज देयर. अभी सबकी वीडियोस ऑफ हो गई है. ओनली 1 2 3. Meenakshi ma'am said that whoever will not turn on their videos, we'll have to remove them. There's no point being here if your not video is on. So nobody learned anything in the last session. Why are we doing this session then? आप चाहते हो ये सब सेशंस अटेंड करना या नहीं?
Yes, ma'am.
चाहते हो?
Yes, ma'am.
नंदिनी शेयरिंग ऐसे और बात लोग भी शेयर कर सकते हैं, राइट? We also talked about perspective taking. How do we understand the perspective of other people? So the recap is about, we learned about empathy and how it can help us build stronger relationships. तो ये रिलेशनशिप कहीं पर भी हो सकते हैं, हमारी पर्सनल लाइफ में या प्रोफेशनल लाइफ में या स्कूल में, कहीं पर भी हम ह्यूमन बीइंग्स हैं एंड वी आर सराउंडेड बाय अदर पीपल. तो हमें रिलेशनशिप्स तो बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट होते हैं, राइट? How do we improve them? By working on learning about empathy. This we learned. And the other was also about perspective taking and its benefits. जब बहुत in a lot of situations when we are in a conflict with somebody, कुछ लड़ाई हो जाती है आपको, then you trying to understand what the other person is trying to say, taking the perspective is very essential. So today's agenda is, we'll try to find out answers to these questions. What do I want? What do you all want? What do I need? How can I get what I need? These are a few agenda for today. And as you could see, the topic for today is expressing yourself clearly and confidently. So unless you yourself know कि आपको क्या चाहिए, क्या जरूरत है, तो आप नहीं बता सकते. So you firstly have to understand what do you want and need in life or in any situation so that you are able to express it. So now do you all remember हमने कुछ stories पढ़ी थी last time and then I asked you questions. Stories of a few children. याद है?
Yes, ma'am.
So today also
Yes,
we
ma'am.
will. Okay, thank you for responding. Today also we will be reading a few stories and then I would love to know your perspective on it. Okay, so meet Rohan. Rohan is very social and well liked by everyone. Everyone likes him because everyone like just a minute, sorry. Everyone likes him because he always helps them with whatever they want. When his friends need to talk to him, he will drop everything and be there. When his family asks him to help with work, he will be there. He supports everyone around him. So he's very social, okay? But at the end of the day, his own work gets left behind. He wants to be an engineer, but he doesn't get to study and revise his concepts for the exam because he feels like he doesn't have time for himself. He feels overwhelmed. He feels overwhelmed and confused because sometimes when he wants love, no, when he wants there to be, and so Rohan feels very angry with his friends. and tells his friends that they don't know how much he does for them and they should be there for him more. तो उसको बुरा लगता है कि मैं सबके लिए इतना कुछ करता हूँ बट जब मुझे हेल्प चाहिए होती है nobody is there, which has led to some friends breaking up. So there are some friendships जो टूट भी गई हैं. He feels overwhelmed and confused because sometimes when he wants others to be there for him, they're not there. And so Rohan feels angry with his friends and tells his friends that they don't know him much. He does for them and they should be there for him more. Which has led, I can't read this, give me a minute. Which is which has led to some friends breaking up. Okay, we have already read this, I think. Now there's another story about Tanya. So there's another child, Tanya. Tanya, on the other hand, is also social and people like her. She's also social and people like her. But she doesn't help everyone all the time. Sometimes when she has her own studying to do, she will cancel plans, and after she's done studying, she meets her friends and family for what they need. She also wants to be an engineer, so she takes out time for what she needs to do first and then takes out time for others after that. Can you see the difference between both? आ रहा है समझ?
Yes, ma'am.
Now
Yes,
sometimes
ma'am.
Tanya, okay, sometimes Tanya feels alone and tired and needs to hang out with her friends. So she makes time for her friends first and then studies afterwards. So she's trying to manage कि कब उसको पढ़ाई करने की नीड है, कब उसको फ्रेंड से मिलने की नीड है. She is able to identify what she wants and what she needs. She adjusts her priorities and talks to her friends and family about it. Tanya's friends trust her and her friends have been with her throughout. Okay. So now I have a question for all of you. What can we say about Rohan and Tanya's communication? The communication pattern में आपको कुछ अलग लगा? How Rohan used to talk to his friends and family and how Tanya did. Any observation? Would anybody like you to say anything? So both Rohan and Tanya are helpful and supportive to their friends. है ना? ये common था. Both were helpful and social. But
Yes, ma'am.
while Rohan doesn't think about his needs, Tanya does. And Rohan doesn't communicate his needs, but Tanya does. How can we see that difference? Would anybody like to say anything? Could you see that? The difference?
Yes, ma'am.
I want someone to unmute and share. Yeah, Nandini. क्या difference दिखा आपको?
मैम तान्या मैनेज कर रही है सिचुएशन को
हाँ, कैसे?
एंड रोहन ने मैनेज नहीं किया, उन्होंने सबकी हेल्प की बट वो मैनेज नहीं कर पाए उस टाइम पे, और फिर वो बाद बाद में अलोन फील कर रहे थे, फिर वो सोच रहे थे कि जैसे उन्होंने सबकी
हम्म
हेल्प की कोई उनकी भी हेल्प करे.
right. Very good. Thank you for sharing. So he wanted to help, but उसके way में his own studies were suffering. So it's important to prioritize. हम जब communication के बारे में बात करते हैं, it is a skill, okay? How Tanya was able to do it. ऐसा भी हो सकता है कि आप सबके साथ भी ये issues आते होंगे, कभी कभी होता है कभी
Yes,
पढ़ाई
ma'am.
और फ्रेंड्स के बीच में क्या करना चाहिए. एग्जाम्स हैं बट फ्रेंड्स से मिलने का भी मन है. Then we have this dilemma, right? So it is a skill. Communication is a skill जो हम सीख सकते हैं, right? And that is what we learn today. If we don't communicate what is important to us, we have to let our friends know or family know what is important to us and expect कि सामने वाले को समझ आ जाना चाहिए. अगर नहीं आया, जो जैसा हो रहा है हमें उसी के साथ चल रहे हैं. We are using passive communication. On the other hand, if we get angry and shouting to communicate, we are using aggressive communication like Rohan. जब हम सामने वाले की फीलिंग्स डिसरिगार्ड कर देते हैं, right? The kind of communication that Tanya shows is called assertive communication. Okay? जब हम अपनी thoughts, feelings and needs को clearly, respectfully and confidently express कर पाते हैं. We are not getting aggressive कि you did not do this for me, तूने मुझसे बात नहीं की, you are not like this. That becomes more aggressive. You will feel a lot of resentment against that person. But you clearly assign कि यार एग्जाम्स आ रहे हैं एंड मुझे पढ़ाई करनी है, प्लीज डोंट फील बैड, एक बार आई एम एबल टू स्टडी देन वील मेक सम प्लान, right? Were you able to understand what assertive communication is?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Can you see the presentation on my screen or no?
Yes,
Yes,
ma'am.
ma'am. We see.
Or can you see a PDF? You can see the presentation, right? PPT?
Yes,
Yes,
ma'am.
ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
ठीक है. So we are often taught that अगर हम अपने बारे में सोचे, you would have heard a lot, right? That you would have heard that अगर हम अपने बारे में सोच रहे हैं तो हम selfish है, right? It can be very difficult to overcome that thought, right? But sometimes it is important for us to think about what we need. That is not selfish. You have to understand that what you need first. कि हमें क्या चाहिए, क्योंकि सामने वाले को नहीं पता होगा unless we tell them, right? This can be in any kind of a relationship, with your parents, with your romantic relationships, with your teachers, with your peers, anybody. When we communicate assertively, we encourage our friends and family to also do the same. That we can trust the other person to take our needs into the picture and we will do the same for them. Okay? So now, moving on. So assertive communication is the first topic for today. Assertive communication allows individuals to express their thoughts, feelings, and needs in a clear, respectful, and confident manner. Okay? Please turn on your videos, everyone. I want to see you all. Then it is a balance between passive and aggressive communication. Passive communication क्या होता है? Can anybody share with me? What do you understand by passive communication? Ritika, आप कुछ बोल रहे हो? Can't hear you if you're saying something. Anybody wants to share? What do you think is passive communication? Word से कुछ समझ आ रहा है? Ayush, are you saying something? No? एक्टिव और पैसिव सुना होगा आपने इंग्लिश पढ़ते हुए, सुना है? So passive communication is not communicating, maybe giving like a silent treatment, not
मैम
actively
जब
going and
हम लोग
हाँ
मैम
बोलिए.
जब हम लोग कोई बात को किसी बात को घुमा फिरा के बोले, मतलब डायरेक्ट पॉइंट आउट.
Right. Okay, thank you. Correct. And what is aggressive communication? क्या समझ आ रहा है aggressive communication से? Would like to share now?
मैम
Yeah, Vivek.
जब भी किसी भी कम्युनिकेशन में हम नॉर्मली बात कर सकते हैं, अपने फीलिंग्स को एक्सप्रेस कर सकते हैं, पर उसके जगह पे ज्यादा गुस्सा करना, या जहाँ पे गुस्सा ना आना चाहिए वहाँ पे गुस्सा कर देना बातों में, तो उसको हम लोग अग्रेसिव कम्युनिकेशन कह सकते हैं। किसी को डिसरिस्पेक्ट से बात करना, जबकि उसकी कोई गलती ना हो, हमारे हमारे मिसअंडरस्टैंडिंग की वजह से हम किसी को अग्रेसिवली बात कर देते हैं, तो उसको अग्रेसिव टॉक कह सकते हैं।
Right. Thank you for sharing. Very good. Exactly. When it's not needed, but our anger shows up in terms of aggressive behavior, which is not needed. तो इन सब के बीच, दोनों के बीच में हमें बैलेंस करना पड़ता है. सो पैसिव कम्युनिकेशन एंड अग्रेसिव कम्युनिकेशन का बैलेंस को क्या बोलते हैं हम? असर्टिव कम्युनिकेशन, विच इज क्लियर. आप घुमा फिरा के कुछ नहीं बोल रहे, आप क्लियरली बोल रहे हैं, दिस इज व्हाट आई नीड, बट एट द सेम टाइम नॉट shouting at that person, not blaming the other person. If you blame the other person, then they'll not understand you. हम एक और एक्टिविटी समझेंगे through which we can practice assertive communication. Okay? It promotes mutual respect, understanding, and trusting relationships. Okay? Now, the topic of needs versus wants. Does anybody here know the difference between needs and wants? Who would like to share? Somebody who has not spoken yet, I would like to hear from you. Batao. Turn on your cameras and just raise your hand. It's okay. हो सकता है गलत हो. Need और want. कुछ समझ आ रहा होगा आपको? मुस्कान. Yes. मुस्कान
मैम,
has raised.
यस मैम।
But
मैम, नीड मतलब जिसे हम किसी चीज की हमें कोई जरूरत हो उसे, मतलब उसके
हाँ
बिना हमारा नहीं हो पाएगा। और वांट्स
हाँ.
मतलब हम वो चीज अट्रैक्टिव लगे, हमें वो पसंद आए, पर हमें उसकी
Hmm.
जरूरत।
Very well. Very easy, right? Needs is something that is essential, that we need. What are some needs that you all have? जैसे सब चैट बॉक्स में लिखिए, व्हाट डू यू नीड, जिसके बिना आप रह नहीं सकते हो. मे बी फूड. Food is something that you need, right? Ma'am and dad, mom and dad, need of money, want lot of cars. Oh, yes. Very good example. Nishant has given that needs money to survive, but it want hai lots of cars. Food, water, shelter, we need study, oxygen, water, need of patience. Okay. Water and food. Okay. This is basic needs. Other than water, food, what else can you think of in needs? As you're growing up now, what other needs do you have? Having a shelter, need of good education. Okay. हम एजुकेशन को वांट तो नहीं बोल सकते, राइट? नीड है, राइट? यस. व्हाट एल्स? अ शेल्टर टू लिव इन. नीड
नीड
ऑफ एयर.
सपोर्ट।
We need support. Yes. Support also. Want a TV. Okay. Great. Want gold jewelry. Okay. Study and food. Okay. Great. नाउ नीड्स हमने डिस्कस कर लिया. अभी आप बताओ वांट्स क्या हैं आप सबके. व्हाट डू यू ऑल वांट? वांट कार. सबको कार चाहिए यहाँ पे. ओके. मनी. ओके. व्हाट एल्स? वांट मनी एंड गुड एजुकेशन. ओके. लग्जरी लाइफ. वाओ. ओके. ठीक है. Want mobile, car, money. Ma'am, needs are normal. Just because needy things we can achieve easily, but the wants are our happiness because we achieve our wants when we feel lots of happiness. Okay, Sumit has written luxury life. Want is like we want eat spicy food today. True. फूड तो आपको चाहिए, वो नीड है, बट अब आप अगर कह रहे हो कि मुझे बर्गर खाना है, चाउमीन खानी है, तो वो वांट्स हो गई. ओके, सो नाउ थैंक यू फॉर शेयरिंग ऑल ऑफ यू. अगर किसी और को कुछ या विवेक, यू वांटेड टू से समथिंग?
यस मैम.
या
मैम, नीड्स और वांट्स में हम ऐसे डिफरेंशिएट कर सकते हैं कि जैसे हमको 4-5 किलोमीटर स्कूल जाना है तो हम कह सकते हैं कि हमें एक साइकिल की जरूरत है. पर वहीं अगर हम कहें कि हमें 4-5 किलोमीटर स्कूल जाना है इसलिए हमें एक कार चाहिए, तो वो हमारा वांट होगा, क्योंकि हम लोग साइकिल से अपनी नीड पूरी कर सकते हैं. लेकिन हम और ज्यादा वांट कर रहे हैं कि हमारे पास बाइक हो या कार हो. तो वो हमारी वांट्स है, क्योंकि वांट हमारी कभी खत्म नहीं हो सकती. लेकिन नीड्स को हम एक एक लेवल तक कंप्लीट कर सकते हैं.
राइट, थैंक यू फॉर शेयरिंग. आपने बहुत अच्छे से एक्सप्लेन किया एंड एग्जाम्पल भी अच्छा दिया. थैंक यू फॉर शेयरिंग विवेक. एज विवेक सेड, नीड्स हमारे लिए जरूरी होती हैं. दे आर एसेंशियल फॉर आवर वेल बीइंग. नीड्स वो चीजें होती हैं जो हमें हमारे फिजिकल, साइकोलॉजिकल, सोशल, एज नंदिनी had also said, support is also need. So साइकोलॉजिकल, सोशल एंड इमोशनल वेलबींग के लिए जरूरी होती है. ओके, जो आपको चाहिए ही. फॉर एग्जाम्पल, इट इज अ नीड फॉर अस टू हैव फ्रेंड्स who listen to us, right? Who we can be open with. It is a need for us to have supportive parents. That is also a need. It is a need for our body to get enough sleep and nutritious food. It is also a need to be fun and playful. Wants on the other hand, वो चीजें होती हैं जो हमें पसंद आ सकती हैं, right? हमें अच्छी लग सकती हैं, but without it also we can survive. We will survive. For example, watching a movie, reading a book, going out every day with our friends and family, eating noodles, burger, etc. can all make us happy, but without it, our survival is not at risk. Okay? Now there is one activity. Okay, yeah, this is a little about if you want to read. द डिफरेंस बिटवीन नीड्स एंड वांट्स. अगर आप नोट करना चाहते हैं या अगर आप समझ गए हैं तो ग्रेट. नीड्स आर एसेंशियल टू मेक आवर लाइव्स इजियर. ये एग्जांपल मैं दे चुकी हूँ आपको. वांट्स आर थिंग्स वी विश्ड फॉर बिकॉज दे मेक अस फील गुड और हैप्पी, बट दे आर नॉट नेसेसरी. तो ये एग्जांपल आप याद रखना कि नीड्स एंड वांट्स में क्या डिफरेंस. नाउ देयर इज अ स्मॉल एक्टिविटी दैट वील बी डूइंग. These are some sentences that I will be speaking, and you all have to share that this is a need or a want. ठीक है, तो आपको चैट बॉक्स में लिखना है. आप चैट बॉक्स खोल लीजिए सब, एंड देन okay, ma'am is saying only 9 out of 21 students have their cameras on. Why so? If you're not thinking this is interesting, you don't have to attend that.
ma'am, I'm actually surprised that you have put in so much
Yeah.
effort. और मुझे ये बाकी बच्चों का ये भी नहीं पता कि are they there or not there,
Right.
right? So I think either you give them a couple of minutes to switch it on.
The way, okay. So these are some sentences. I'll be speaking them out loud and you have to share with me if it's a need or a want. आपको chat box में share करना है, right? First is, having a group of close friends to talk to, is it a need or a want? What do you think? Type in the chat box. Okay, need. Everybody thinks it's a need. Okay, great. Thank you. Yeah, because we need friends. It's a part of a social support, psychological support, emotional support. Okay, great. Next is going out with friends for lunch. Is it a need or a want? Want. Okay. Okay. Because if we don't go for lunch, that's okay too. I mean, it's a want, you can fulfill it, not that it's bad. वो want होना कोई बुरी चीज नहीं है, but it's a want. It's a different than need. Okay. Third is sleeping for 8 hours. Need है कि want है? Need है. Anybody thinks sleeping for 8 hours is a want? निशांत को लगता है कि sleeping for 8 hours is a want. It's a need. As a human being, we all need 8 hours of sleep, especially when we are young. Ajit and किसने लिखा था? Who had written want? Do you want to share why do you think it's a want? Okay, getting compliments for your hard work on a project. It's a need or you want. Getting compliments for your hard work on a project. It may be a want sometime. अच्छा ठीक है, want, need. Confusion है इसके अंदर, I can see. Some people are saying need, some people are saying want. क्यों है ये confusion? We took examples of basically food, water, shelter, right? Which were physiological needs. Basically हमें बॉडी को खाना चाहिए, पानी चाहिए, शेल्टर चाहिए, बट जरूरी नहीं है that the needs have only have to be physiological. The needs can be psychological, emotional as well, right? We are learning about mental health. So getting compliments for your hard work on a project is a need. As a person, you want compliments, you want appreciate, you need, sorry, it's a need. Vivek, had you raised your hand? You want to say something? Anybody who wants to
Yes,
say
ma'am.
something on this? Hanji, बताइए.
Yes, ma'am. I
Yes.
was saying that compliments for our hard work on
Hmm.
anything is necessary. क्योंकि हमको अगर हमारे हार्ड वर्क के लिए कॉम्प्लीमेंट मिलता है तो हमें एक मोटिवेशन आता है कि आगे हम और अच्छा कर सके। और अगर बार बार हमारे हार्ड वर्क्स को अप्रिशिएट नहीं किया जाता तो हम डीमोटिवेट हो जाते हैं कि हमने इतना हार्ड वर्क किया फिर भी किसी ने हमें प्रेज नहीं किया।
Right. So when we are looking at needs, that thank you Vivek for sharing. So when we are looking at needs, आप सिर्फ फिजियोलॉजिकल बॉडी की नीड्स को नहीं, हमारे इमोशनल इमोशंस की नीड भी देखिए. What do you need? Will it be okay if you don't can get any compliments if you motivate? So it's a need. Everybody who wrote wants, reflect on it. Let me know what you think. After that, fifth number पे है receiving hugs from your family. Is it a need or a want? Receiving hugs from your family. Okay, need. Sumit has written want. Karan has written want. Okay, बाकी सबने need. Need in an emotional way. Yeah. Now you're able to understand the difference between need and want, but also from a emotional mental health perspective. As young children, or even when we're very young, जब हम बहुत छोटे होते हैं, babies, do you think children need hugs from their family or they want it?
They need.
They need it. They need for an emotional safety. They need hugs to build a relationship. वैसे ही हमें भी चाहिए, हम बड़े होके भी हमें hugs चाहिए. It's not a want. बट इफ वी से कि मुझे अपने पेरेंट्स फैमिली से फोन चाहिए, लैपटॉप चाहिए, ये चाहिए, वो फिर वांट हो सकता है, राइट? गेटिंग द नाउ सिक्स्थ इज, ओके, थैंक यू एवरीवन फॉर शेयरिंग. सिक्स्थ पे आते हैं हम. अच्छा, पहले ही सब लिख चुके हैं. गेटिंग द लेटेस्ट मॉडल ऑफ अ स्मार्टफोन, सब पहले ही लिख चुके हैं. वांट, ओके, दिस इज वेरी क्लियर. We can clearly survive without the latest phone. Then seventh is having a phone in the family. There's a difference. Sixth was getting the latest model of a smartphone. Seventh is having a phone in the family. Need. Yes. In this scenario, these days, कहीं ना कहीं फोन, एक कम से कम एक फोन होना जरूरी भी है to have communication, to be in the loop, to talk to people. किसी को कुछ कहना है about this? Eating something
Ma'am,
from the shop every. Hanji, yes.
ma'am, I have a confusion in the fourth point, where it says getting compliments for your hard work on a project. I
Yeah.
think it's a want as we put expectations from the society, like we expect from them to compliment our things. And I don't think it's a need, but we can have different perspective.
Okay. Okay. Thank you for sharing, Vedika. Thank you for sharing. But I also want to say that हम ज्यादातर needs physiological bodily needs को समझते हैं. Now we want to inculcate and understand that needs can also be emotional and psychological. But thanks for sharing. So we have a few more activities to do. Let's move on to them. The next is choosing your career. Is it a need or a want? Need, yes. Then getting time for yourself during the day. Getting time for yourself during the day. It's a need. You need time, yes. And then getting shopping for trendy clothes. Is it a need or a want? Shopping for trendy clothes, want. And the last is, what is the last one? Having fun and playing. Having fun and playing. Yes, it's a need. So let's move on further. Now you all have understood what needs and wants are clearly, right? What are your needs? This we've already discussed. I asked all of you, what are your needs? Now we will be doing one activity जिसका नाम है I statements. This is a way in which you can clearly express your needs and wants, and you can express yourself confidently. This is a skill of communication. I am a therapist and a counselor. I also use this activity with my clients who are struggling with their mental health, who are not able to express properly. For example, a few of my clients, there was a client of mine जो ऑफिस जाते थे, बट उनको बहुत काम मिलता था, बट वो मना नहीं कर पाते थे अपने बॉस को. he had to come to office early, go home late, and that affected his mental health. So I statements say they started speaking up but not blaming the other person. Okay. So now we'll understand what I statements are. Example, I feel, I need or I want. आप जब भी कोई statement बनाएंगे, you'll say that you start with I, that I feel this, I need this, I want this. They are a powerful tool for expressing our feelings and needs in a non-accusatory way. We take responsibility of our emotions and avoid placing blame on others. So I'll give you an example, okay? In any situation, be it in relationships or in job, whenever you blame the other person, अगर आपको कुछ फील हुआ है, आपको बुरा फील हुआ है, right? You felt bad, but you start blaming the other person that you did this to me. The other person will not be able to understand your emotions. क्यों? Because automatically they will get defensive. Why? Because it's very natural for human beings to get defensive when they are being blamed. आपको भी अगर कोई भी ब्लेम करेगा तो आप उनके इमोशन समझ पाओगे, आपको बुरा लगेगा, you will get defensive that no, I did not do this. So instead of blaming the other person, if you blame them, they'll get defensive and not, they'll shut down. So इसके लिए firstly share how you feel, that I feel this. So I think there are some examples of it. Yes. So now what you have to do is, let's try this with different situations. I'll give you an example. So ये जो आपको sentences दिख रहे हैं आपने आपके सामने, the first sentences you have to create I statements for them. The situation is that you feel left out of a group activity. There's a group activity happening in the class, ठीक है? And you are feeling left out. How will you make an I statement of it? Can you all hear me? मेरी आवाज आ रही है आप सबको? हेलो?
Yes, ma'am.
हाँ, so आप सब चैट बॉक्स में लिखिए, हाउ विल यू क्रिएट द स्टेटमेंट फॉर फर्स्ट सिचुएशन. यू फील लेफ्ट आउट ऑफ अ ग्रुप एक्टिविटी. यू हैव टू, आई, विवेक हैज रिटन, आई फेल्ट बैड when the excluded me, when the class excluded me from the group activity. Great. When they, I felt bad when they excluded me from the good activity. So you're not totally putting the blame on them. अगर इसके जगह sentence होता that you blame, you excluded me, the group, the class, उनको address करके आप अगर बोलते that you excluded me, then it would become accusatory and that they would not listen. You are focusing on how you feel unhappy. Okay. Next situation. You need help with your schoolwork. You need help with your schoolwork. Make an I statement. Make an I statement. Situation is कि आपको help चाहिए स्कूल के काम के लिए. आप क्या बोलेंगे? Write in the chat box. Everyone, I want everyone to write. सबके responses चाहिए मुझे. Take 2 minutes and write. You need help with your schoolwork. I need help with my schoolwork. Very simple. I want your help. Can you please help me? I need help in my schoolwork. Okay. Others, I need help with my schoolwork. I need help. Yes, we use I statement. Can you help me in a school activity project? Okay, please help me. I need some help with my, ठीक है. Great. So ये कुछ और सेंटेंसेस हैं, आप इनका स्क्रीनशॉट ले सकते हैं। एंड आई वुड लाइक यू ऑल टू प्रैक्टिस दिस, कि इन सिचुएशंस में, अभी टाइम हमारे पास थोड़ा कम है, हमें एक और टॉपिक लेना है, आप इसका स्क्रीनशॉट ले लीजिए। एंड आई वुड लाइक यू ऑल टू प्रैक्टिस दिस यूजिंग आई स्टेटमेंट्स. ओके, now the next topic that we will be talking about is boundaries. What are boundaries and why do we use them? Anybody can share? Let's understand. Boundaries are limits that you set for what you are okay with and what you are not okay doing. For example, if you know you need 8 hours of sleep to be fresh in the morning, a boundary for you can be, I will not be able to talk to you after 10 p.m. as I need to go to sleep. Okay? So you know कि आपकी एक need है 8 hours of sleep. तो इसलिए आप, कोई अगर पूछेगा कि आप लेट मिलो, लेट बात करो, तो you're totally able to create a boundary that this is a boundary for you can be, I will not be able to talk to. तो आप अपने लिए बाउंड्री बनाते हैं कि 10 p.m. के बाद I will relax, I will not talk to anybody, I will not even use my phone and try to relax. Boundaries and demands are not the same. Boundaries and demands are different. Why are boundaries important? I want somebody to answer who has not spoken yet. Thank you everybody who has shared, but I want now somebody to answer who has not spoken. Turn on your camera and then speak. Why are boundaries important? आपको क्या लगता है कि क्यों जरूरी होती है boundaries? If you can't speak, then share in the chat. Nobody knows why boundaries are important.
मैम बाउंड्रीज आर इम्पोर्टेंट बिकॉज ताकि कोई भी अपने बाउंड्रीज और अपने लिमिट्स को क्रॉस ना करे और कोई हमें हर्ट ना कर सके.
Makes sense. Thank you, Nandini. Thank you. Thank you for sharing. So, boundaries. Now you have a few situations that I'm giving you. I would like you all to practice. Ajay has written, boundaries help determine what is and is not okay in a relationship, whether that be with friends, partners, co-workers, bosses, or family members. Ideally, we put them in a place to protect our well-being. They help us to build trust, safety, and respect in relationships. Thank you, Ajay. क्या आपने ये कॉपी पेस्ट किया है या खुद लिखा है? बहुत अच्छा लिखा है. Thank you. Feel safe and secure to control our lives. Yes. Very good. Thank you for sharing. So now you have a few situations. I know that also. Okay, great. First situation is, आप कैसे बाउंड्री बनाएंगे? Being invited to an activity you don't enjoy. आपको एक एक्टिविटी करने के लिए इनवाइट किया गया है that you don't like doing. How will you create a boundary? I want everybody to write in the chat box whatever you want to use. आप कैसे बात करोगे, कैसे बाउंड्री बनाओगे? आपको किसी ने इनवाइट किया है एक एक्टिविटी करने के लिए, बट आपको अच्छा नहीं लगता है वो करना. हाउ विल यू क्रिएट दैट बाउंड्री? I'll give some excuse. If this not this situation, you can also take the second situation, which is being pressured to cheat on a test. So some friend or somebody is pressurizing you to cheat on the test with you. How will you create a boundary if you do not want to do that? दोनों में से कोई भी एग्जाम्पल का आप मुझे स्टेटमेंट दीजिए. I'm not comfortable doing these activities, so I can't participate. Sorry. Sorry about that. I'm not interested. Great. Vedika and Vivek, thank you for sharing. I want a response from everyone. From 23 participants, I want 23 responses. I'll say no, I'm not interested. I can't cheat in the exam as I can't risk being caught. Right? Thank you, Mayank. I don't want to cheat because I'm not comfortable. Okay, Archita. I'm sorry, but this is not correct and I'll not do it. I'm interested. I'm interested. Karan, आप बोलोगे I'm interested in cheating. किस में interested हो आप? No, ma'am. Okay. ठीक है, कुछ और बोल रहे थे शायद करण. ऐसे ही और भी situations हैं. A friend asks you to lend them money that you just earned. How do you create that boundary? Your sibling asks you to lie to cover for an expected item that they क्या लिखा है? That they bought. So take a screenshot of these sentences and practice creating boundaries. And not just practice, I want you to apply them in your real life. Thank you for sharing. This is not correct. I'm not interested in this activity. Okay, great. Now to close, we recap. What did we do today? We learned about assertive communication through needs and wants. Needs and wants सबको clear है?
Yes, ma'am.
We learned
Yes,
how do
ma'am.
we assertively communicate our needs.
Yes.
We also looked at I statements and how can setting boundaries help us. So this was the recap. Thank you. But now I want you all to share in chat box before leaving one thing that you are taking away with yourself today. One thing that you have learned today and you will apply in your real life. What will it be? सबको लिखने के बाद ही लीव कर सकते हैं, उससे पहले नहीं कर सकते हैं. ओके, सो व्हाट वाज वन थिंग दैट यू विल टेक विद योरसेल्फ टुडे? That you will actually practice, not just for learning, but आप अपने real life में try करोगे apply करने का. Turn on your videos, everyone. I want to see everyone. Turn on your videos.